Coming up next on Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable, the budget is officially a done deal. We'll look at the impact on child welfare and education. We'll discuss a bill allowing health inspectors to perform surprise inspections of abortion clinics. And Secretary of State Ken Bennett makes it official he is running for governor. The Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Mary Jo Pitzel of the Arizona Republic, Jeremy Duda of the Arizona Capital Times, and Hank Stevenson, also of the Arizona Capital Times. Well, the governor signs a $9.2 billion budget, calling the spending plan, quote, balanced, principled, and fiscally prudent. She also apparently, Mary Jo, a couple line item vetoes along the way, huh?
Yes, she did. In fact, I'm not positive, but these might be the first line item vetoes that she's done since she's been governor. She pulled out about $4 million of spending, pointing out that these individual programs she felt were not particularly useful or were not very well spelled out, such as a landing strip in northern Arizona, an airstrip, which had no stated purpose, and they weren't quite sure where exactly it was supposed to go.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense at that. But there were also some education things, I think, for alternative teaching, and for JTED, for that particular program, which looks at science and education, kind of a different way of education. Surprised there at all?
A little bit. There's $1 million for these joint technical education districts, and it went to the smaller ones, which will mostly be the rural ones, and that was the governor's rationale for vetoing that, is it would create a greater disparity between urban and rural JTEDs. There was $500,000 for a teacher development program, a little money for some technology software program, and the biggest one was $1.3 million for they're supposed to backfill money that the counties are losing under this sales tax cut plan for manufacturers the governor also signed today. And I would imagine that at the county level, there's going to be a lot of folks unhappy about that.
Yeah, I talked to some county officials, and they said the hit's especially hard in Gila County. That county is home to 2 smelters. The tax cut bill the governor signed exempts the sale of electricity from sales tax for smelting and manufacturing operations. So that's a big hit to that county's budget.
A little bit of the thought behind some of these line item vetoes, this money could be used if we need to look at the post-CPS agency?
Yeah, I think that was part of it. That's something that she mentioned in her press release about it. One of the real interesting things is a lot of people were kind of looking to the CPS things where she didn't get enough money, saying, is she going to cut this out and make them come back? And these were all kind of more obscure. I mean, it wasn't the things that were being fought over back and forth at the legislature that they were trying to get up to high enough numbers to appease the governor.
As far as the debate was concerned regarding the budget, it seemed from a distance, and I asked President Biggs about this, and he didn't say this is necessarily the case, but still in all, it kind of seemed like the House and the governor were on one page, President Biggs and the Senate on another. Is that relatively accurate?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, this is the ping pong ball. The budget went back and forth between the two chambers, and then finally, the House wanted to, the Senate would cut spending, the House would put some back, they'd go back, and the Senate would threaten to cut, and finally the House and the governor hashed out a deal where they found kind of a happy medium between those two, and then everything was kind of up to the Senate approving this, and Senator Biggs letting this go through because he had some concerns about some of this spending.
Yeah, I mean, is that kind of the way you saw it a little bit, where the House and the governor finally kind of got on the same track and then had to pull the Senate in?
Right, but Senate got the ball started, if
right.
you would, and yeah, it was a little more coordination between the governor's office and the House. At the end, it came down to pretty small differences, and at least when it came to numbers, and we didn't see really big, severe policy differences. That probably the biggest one was the charter school issue for district schools that convert to charters, and how long to keep that funding going.
And not only that, but I guess the funding, ends next year. I think Biggs wanted it to end retroactively a year earlier. Ends next year, and basically what all these districts had been doing, ain't gonna be able to do that anymore.
No, and even this year they're not getting the full funding. They're getting about 75% of what they need to continue operations as is. So, and then coming next year they won't be around anymore.
Winners, losers in all this, what do you see?
Hard to say. They were fighting over such a small amount of money in the end. You had these 6 holdout Republicans who were kind of winners because they kind of got a little bit of what they were looking for, but including the charter money, but not totally winners. And especially I think Ethan Orr, he was holding out for more JTED money, and we just saw $1 million worth of that get line item today.
What do you think? I mean, the six quote-unquote moderates did hold out for things. They didn't get a heck of a lot what they held out, but they got a little bit,
But they got some, and on schools, and they, I think, used some of their heft to get this, keep this intent language on, like, okay, we intend to come back and look at more money for CPS, because the Senate president he didn't feel that language was even needed, but it remained in with some insistence from the House. It's really hard to pick, big winners and losers. People who are supportive of the University of Arizona feel that was a loser because as they're bringing the other two universities up to parity, U of A's out there searching for money to start a vet school and got some of that money, but not everything they were looking for.
I would say that probably the governor was the biggest winner on this, in that she got most of what she asked for. And then she's bringing him back to a special session in a couple of months to finish it up. So she still got the chance to go for more.
Yeah, how big a winner the governor is, remains to be seen. At the beginning of the session, she wanted about, I believe, $80 million or so for this new CPS agency. They approved about $59 million, but with the understanding that they're coming back pretty soon. Once there's some, more plans. Firmly laid out for this to provide more funding. And it looks like after these line items, they might have to deal with a couple other issues in that special session too. One very interesting line item veto was all of the funding for the Ombudsman's office. And the reason for this was the legislature increased the spending by about $200,000, and a lot of that was to deal with CPS stuff. The governor felt like it was premature to start allocating that money, but it's all lumped together. You can't line item to $200,000, so she scrapped the whole thing, which Senate President Biggs is now pretty irate about.
Yeah, it did set off some alarm bells. It's like, we're going to get rid of the Ombudsman's office. But the argument from the governor's office is that no, the governor intends to keep the Ombudsman. The new CPS has to be extracted from the Department of Economic Security by July 1. So the thinking is that they'll have this new agency at least set up on paper by then, which means there'll be a special session between now and July 1, at which time they will put in funding so the Ombudsman's office will have a budget for the next year.
This special session now, again, everyone wants to see what comes next after CPS to be something that works, and we stop with these headlines. Now, when we get the special session, who has the upper hand? Are we going to see some fighting and fussing going on there too?
There's been a work group kind of working through the details of what do we want to do, how much money is this going to cost, what kind of authority should we give these guys, going back to like February. And they've been working together, and there's representatives from the House, from the Senate, there are Democrats in the room. So I think that by the time they get there, they should be pretty much on the same page. I think the governor has the upper hand in that she can again go in and veto things if she decides it's not enough money, for example.
Yeah, I think Hank makes a good point. I mean, this work group consists of mostly of lawmakers and staffers. I think County Attorney Bill Montgomery's on it. And their goal is to come out with a unanimous recommendation. And you have people sort of all across the ideological spectrum, and they are, we haven't seen their final product yet, but they are committed to trying to have something that will have unanimous support. If that's the case, then that's going to make it a little easier to sell in the legislature.
So do you agree the governor, A, has the upper hand? B, if she does have the upper, how much leverage does she have?
No, I mean, the leverage is running out, but she's still the governor. She can still keep them there in special session for as long as she wants. Everyone wants to get out of there. People have campaigns to get to. And I think you guys are right in that there's probably going to be a lot of widespread support in the legislature, because this is a very narrow issue. Democrats, Republicans, everyone can get behind saving the children. So there might be some holdouts. There's a few people who are grumbling about not wanting to spend a lot more money, but I think there'll probably be enough support there to get this through.
Yeah, the question will be where to find money. The work group says they're going to come out with budget recommendations as well, and with her line item vetoes today and freeing up about $4 million. The governor sort of suggested that maybe this is money that you could just sort of put away. It'd be better spent on child welfare than on airport landing strips or beefing up the Ombudsman's office when you don't know what CPS is going to look like.
Exactly, when you don't even know what you have to beef up here. Before we go, Senate President Biggs had a couple of quotes that I just want to get your response to from what you've heard from others. This business that government is not compassionate and merciful, and that government is raw power and doesn't show empathy and doesn't show mercy. Did that raise some eyebrows down there, or is that pretty much standard issue conversation?
I think a little bit of both. The way that he phrased it was just so strong, and he laid it out there on budget night. And I think there were some people looking around the room saying, wow. And I mean, the media started scribbling down the quote, like, oh, that's a good one. That's going in the paper in the morning. But that's kind of par for the course from Senate President Biggs. He really does feel that way.
Was that a surprise to hear something like that during this debate?
Maybe the passion and phrasing, as Hank put it, a little surprising, but that is, Senator Biggs is a very conservative lawmaker. He believes that smaller the government, the better. It is a larger government is a threat to liberty and freedom, and I think that's pretty consistent with the way he's carried himself through a decade or so at the legislature.
All right, we have now this bill has passed, I believe, the legislature, the surprise inspection of abortion clinics. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, this is the abortion legislation of the session. There seems to usually be at least 1 or 2 bills every session. And this would allow warrantless inspections of abortion clinics. That was outlawed, I think, back in 1999 by the courts. Since then, Arizona has changed its laws that supporters believe will accommodate this. And the argument is that you need to be able to, pop into these places unannounced to make sure that they're safe, because you have, very, very delicate operations happening inside them.
And supporters say it's for the health of the woman, and it's other medical facilities you can have surprise inspections. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, supporters of this bill say there's no reason why abortion clinics shouldn't be the only medical facilities that aren't subject to this. And this is really, when you get down to kind of the anti-Kermit Gosnell bill, if you remember that Pennsylvania doctor who was convicted last year of his clinic was kind of a house of horrors, and so a lot of people are kind of invoking that as a reason why we need this.
And critics are basically saying that the abortion clinics are not regular medical clinics. People aren't outside marching and shouting and threatening people going into an ophthalmologist's office.
Exactly. I mean, that's a big part of it. The other part is that, we could see politically motivated inspections of abortion clinics, and it just kind of empowers the ability to do that.
I noticed that during the debate here, we had some interesting dialogue in that God was mentioned. This was abortion was a slap in the face of God, according to Senator David Farnsworth. Again, surprising verbiage coming from the...
That one actually kind of did surprise me. I saw that in the paper, and I said, wow, I didn't hear him say it in person, but I even pointed to it to one of my colleagues and said, oh, that's a good one.
Governor likely to sign this?
Oh, I would expect that to probably be the next thing she signs.
And court action soon
Inevitable.
thereafter? Yeah, that's good. All right, Ken Bennett, what a surprise, huh?
Yeah, Ken Bennett, who of course has been running for governor for a few years now, and officially for 6 months or so. He was one of the only candidates in the race, and the only one of I think the leading contenders who is running with clean elections. And because he's running for clean elections, he can turn in his signatures earlier than most. So yesterday he made the long walk from his desk at the back of the Secretary of State's office over to the front desk to turn in not only his nominating signatures to get on the ballot, but his $5 contributions that'll get him his much-needed clean elections money. The problem for Bennett is that he'll only get about $800,000 from this, and he's running against some very well-funded candidates. I think one of them, Christine Jones, has probably already spent more on TV ads in the last month or so than he's going to get for the entire campaign. Doug Ducey's already had outraised that by the end of 2013. Scott Smith, I hear, is fundraising pretty well. So it's going to be a serious challenge for him, but it's going to help getting that money.
I was going to say, as far as running against folks with a lot of money, you got the clean elections at $800,000 for the primary, I think a little over $1 million, and for the general, should he get that far? Can he get that far against that big money?
Well, there's always the influence of outside groups spending in races. You can also seed a little bit of your own, like you can raise private funds. But yeah, that's a tough hill to climb when you've only got a limited amount of money, and there's really no ability to go beyond that.
Do we know where Ken Bennett stacks up in terms of conservative, moderate, where in this particular pack he sits?
Well, I think he's running pretty far to the right. I mean, he's calling for an end to the income tax. He would roll back the access expansion that Governor Brewer fought for last year. Those two things alone are sort of hallmarks of, they're very strong conservative rallying points.
And I think he also had some birther situations here in the past, did he not?
He had a little dalliance with that. I think it seemed like did that, kind of backtracked on it, doubled down, and then went back on it again. That surprised a lot of people. It doesn't really seem like the Ken Bennett we all know, but I'm sure it's going to get a lot of attention in
That's
the
what I
campaign.
was going to say. That did surprise people, but because before that, and in a non-election year, Ken Bennett was always kind of known as a very level-headed guy.
Okay, you mentioned outside money by groups, these anonymous, the dark money groups, and Republic had this story that Rebecca Sanders did that was just, and we had her on, and tremendous amount of money already being spent, and apparently someone's going after Scott Smith, a conservative group going after Scott Smith, saying he's a friend of the president's and Obamacare or something along these lines?
Yeah, this group, the Legacy Foundation Action Fund, is an out-of-state group based in Iowa, I believe. They're running a little more than $250,000 worth of TV ads over the next week or so, calling Scott Smith Obama's favorite mayor because he is currently the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, which is a national organization that has a number of liberal positions, pro-Obamacare, pro some of the gun control measures that the president's been talking about, in favor of curbing carbon emissions, to worry about climate change, and obviously these are all non-starters in a Republican primary, and so these are not necessarily positions that Scott Smith himself has espoused, but because of his association with this group, they're going after him with both barrels on this.
And he is probably, at least one of the most moderate Republicans in the race. So this is something that people are, to some degree, willing to believe that he has these positions that the Conference of Mayors has put out there.
And we should mention that his campaign immediately came out and said, refuting all of this, and then saying, we think Doug Ducey's campaign is behind it all.
Yeah, so thus we begin.
Yes.
It's just a lot of the finger pointing, and Ducey, was quick then to put out a statement saying that he had absolutely nothing to do with this ad. So there you see the influence of independent expenditure groups, very early in the campaign.
And we should mention, because this is issue advocacy and not necessarily mentioning a candidate or a campaign by name, even though you're seeing Scott Smith's face all over the place, you can run these things, and we don't know who's behind them.
Yeah, this is, quote, not electioneering by this group. It's issue advocacy. Doesn't mention him as a candidate, doesn't mention the campaign. It just says, these policies are wrong for Mesa. Call Scott Smith and tell him you don't like Obamacare and gun control and all these things that the liberal U.S. Conference of Mayors stands for. And, it's the most thinly veiled of electioneering, of course. They actually are running radio ads against Smith and two other members of the U.S. Conference of Mayors leadership. But the other two aren't running for governor. They don't have any TV ads going for him either.
Tom Horn has raised some eyebrows again regarding a recent hire. Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, it's more like a rehire. His former communications director, Amy Rosanico, left last year, went into the private sector, and then sort of reappeared back in the Horn administration in a different capacity. She's in charge of the part of the office that collects debts and fines that are owed to the Attorney General's office because of legal actions taken by that office, which immediately raised questions of, what are her qualifications for this position? Was it posted? Was it advertised? It looks like the record shows that the job description was written specifically for her. It was that job previously did not. She would not have met the qualifications under the previous job posting.
Yeah, you're going from a communications director to someone who is leading the collections enforcement unit. That's quite a promotion there.
Yeah, it is. And, Amy does not have any background in debt collection enforcement, but she does have a very long-standing relationship with Tom Horn. They worked together for years at the Department of Education, then over at the AG's office.
Was there anything to do with this court case involved with this at all?
Well, interestingly enough, a couple months ago, when his campaign finance case went to the office to an administrative law judge, her husband, Greg Tatham's a real estate agent, testified for the defense, and that testimony was pretty key. A lot of it really undermined some of the prosecution's case, so that certainly raised some eyebrows at the connection there.
You gotta wonder, who's advising him? Is there nobody in the office who said, hey, this is gonna look really bad? The newspapers are gonna jump on this.
Well, it's going to look really bad. I mean, that your husband testifies in support of a guy, and the guy rehires you in a position that some say you're not qualified for, that wasn't apparently advertised, and certainly didn't get around all that much. I mean, does it affect his campaign? Oh. I mean, I'm asking rhetorically, but I'm asking seriously, because I don't think he thinks it does.
It's just one more thing. I mean, it's almost hard to keep track of the ongoing scandals around Tom Horn. I mean, is this the biggest one? Probably not, but it's another.
Certainly he has to see that this could be a factor.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, I haven't talked to Attorney General Horn about this, but yes, on one level, he's got to acknowledge that. But what's the point of acknowledging it after it's happened? I mean, apparently it's not affecting his behavior. He keeps doing this, and yes, of course, it will affect the campaign.
What do you think?
Maybe. I mean, it's one more thing for Mark Brnovich and Felicia Rodolini to smack him around on, and they certainly are. And he just doesn't really seem to have given any thought to the public perception of this. I was talking to some Republican sources who were keeping close tabs on that race, and they said, I don't really think this has anything to do with their husband's testimony. It has to do with them having a close relationship, but it just shows that he's got such a tin ear towards public reaction and public perception, which this is just one more thing on top of one more thing on top of one more thing in this race that's kind of dragging him down. And
it's the basis for Brnovich's campaign. I mean, that's all he's running on is I'm not Tom Horn.
Well, all right. I guess there's any campaign in a storm here. Speaking of controversy and 10 years and again and again and again, you wrote about Arizona lawmakers not disclosing gifts, travel gifts in particular. This never seems to end either, does it?
No, it doesn't. And part of the reason to write about it was to put some sunshine on it. And I think it helps to perhaps explain why there's just this larger reticence to doing anything else that would require further disclosure of the legislators by themselves. In this case, any gift that a lawmaker or an elected official receives that's more than $500 that you receive in the previous year, you've got to report as of January 31. And sometimes it's hard to know what you don't know, but you can sort of piece things together from, that you heard about the trip to Israel, you heard about the trip to Azerbaijan, and well, who was on that? And well, most of the members on these trips reported, but a couple didn't. And so you start to go through the records and you just wonder why. And the standard answer has just been, I just forgot. So they amend the report and all is well.
And this is 4 years after the Fiesta Bowl scandal, which was supposed to change everything down there.
Yeah, I mean, the financial disclosure statements that they're required to fill out, there's no teeth to that. You look through them and some of them are just NA or slashes through every single thing that they ask. Like, these people don't have any debts, they don't have any property, and I imagine there's a few of them like that, but there's no consequence for not filling these out properly.
And Michelle Reagan's bill that was supposed to at least address a portion of this kind of activity, does it live or does it not?
I mean, it's gone nowhere, just like every other proposal over the last 4 years to kind of tamp down on this has gone nowhere. No one's really eager to take care of this, especially the further we get away from the Fiesta Bowl scandal, the less and less the public's paying attention.
Yeah, it comes out with, that bill came out of the committee with a unanimous vote. Who's going to vote against? In this case, it was a bill that would have banned lawmakers from taking sports tickets and tickets to special events. So they raise concerns, but they all vote for it, and then the thing just disappears into the president's desk drawer, never to be seen again.
And lawmakers will say the freebies, these kinds of freebies, help them to know the issues better, to get out and even socialize among themselves. I think was part of the Diamondbacks' reasoning for giving them tickets. Anyone buying that?
I think that's definitely true. I mean, I think that there are certain trips that they go on and they actually come away smarter, knowing more about whatever topic it is.
Well, then why wouldn't you go ahead and just say, I went on the trip?
And that's the issue. I have no idea.
It makes you wonder if perhaps more frequent disclosure might help. I mean, this is an annual report, but I sort of liken it to doing your income taxes. You do those once a year, you keep records. You go back, you pull the records so you can fill the thing out a year later.
Well, it all kind of makes you wonder what else isn't getting reported. When 24 lawmakers go on a junket to Azerbaijan and everyone knows about it and people are tweeting about it and posting on Facebook and talking about it, everyone went on this trip and it's pretty easy to pin that down. But if one person goes on a trip somewhere, or two people, and you don't really hear about that, how do you really know that's not getting disclosed?
We don't.
You don't. Yeah, yeah. It would seem to me that if you were a lawmaker in this particular atmosphere, if you took a trip across town, you would go ahead and report
And
it.
of course, the point of disclosure is so that the public can understand and be on the lookout for any potential conflict of interest. There's nothing wrong with going to Azerbaijan. In fact,
Yeah.
this was a trade mission. I think there was a resolution that was passed this year saying trade with Azerbaijan would be good. But you might want to look and see if it helps you to connect the dots, perhaps on the motivation for some votes.
All right, got to stop it right there. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Monday on Arizona Horizon, we will learn about new interactive demographic maps of the Phoenix area, and we'll get the latest Pro Bowl and Indian casino news from Glendale. That's Monday on Arizona Horizon. Tuesday, we will hear what minority leadership at the Capitol thinks of the new budget. Wednesday, we'll discuss a documentary on improving Native American education. Thursday, learn about identity theft during the tax filing season, and Friday, it's another edition of the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.